trial ends, senators will have to decide if they believe Donald John Trump incited the erection.
I give speeches like I run New York, like a jerk off. He's such a fucking asshole.
So that is our New York State Senator.
Him, the governor, the mayor, they're all jerk-offs. I swear to God, they just have a big circle jerk and talk about how they're going to fuck up New York even more.
We'll fuck up the United States even more. I mean, it's just...
I saw something, it says, it was like... hey, Mr. President, you have 4 years. You don't have to fuck up the country in 1 week.
I saw that earlier today, actually. That was so funny.
Dude, he's done some crazy shit, man. Trump signed this thing to make like insulin and EpiPens cheaper and more affordable.
Yeah.
He did away with it. Now the fucking prices skyrocket.
Of course.
So there is a video on 2 occasions of this President Biden saying he will not end fracking.
Yes, yes.
Then Kamala Harris or Kamala, whatever.
Careful, you
tweet. She said Joe Biden will not end fracking. 2 days ago, he signed an executive order that ended fracking temporarily in Pennsylvania and New Mexico.
Let me be clear, and I know this always comes up. We're not going to ban fracking. We'll protect jobs and grow jobs. Look, let me be clear also. I'm not banning fracking in Pennsylvania or anywhere else. I am not banning fracking. Let me say that again. I am not banning fracking, no matter how many times Donald Trump lies about me.
Joe Biden will not ban fracking. That is a fact. That is a fact.
What the frack?
So they were saying that the pipeline was supposed to go from Canada to Texas, I think, or Arizona.
No. It went from like the Northwest to Canada, I think.
Because now they're saying that Canada is going to build it in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Where China is going to.
Great. No, that's really awesome. I really got to give props to Biden for just fucking everything up in a week. It's, whatever. What are you going to do?
They all want to, come on, give him a chance. Nobody gave Trump a chance.
Oh, no.
They were impeaching him before he was even inaugurated. They're trying to impeach him.
Oh, yeah. And, yeah. I mean, look. Harold's like, what the frack? Oh, my God. It's just, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, what are you going to do? The guy, we have him for 4 years, and there's nothing we could do about it.
Dude, I was talking about this the other day. Like, look back at the 50s and the 60s, Vietnam and all the crazy shit that went on, all the college protests. Dude, they went through that shit for over a decade, and we survived.
Yeah.
I think we could survive 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Trump is on his golf course right now, just smiling, just like, I told you guys so. I told you so.
Smiling.
Nah,
dude, Trump, whatever. The guy is an egomaniac.
Definitely.
So he is not happy. He has not had a good night's sleep since that fucking election.
Yeah, but to be the president of the United States, you have to have some sort of ego. So it's not just him.
There was a tweet. I don't know if it's real, and I don't want to look it up because I want to believe it's real. It was right before he was elected, and somebody's like, "How do you sleep at night?" And he wrote, "Naked with a supermodel." I want it to be real.
Sounds like something you would write. I mean, look.
Dude, that's the thing. People don't realize he was on Twitter way before he announced he was running. And he would write some fucking horrific shit.
Craig, I remember last week you talking about these keyboard warriors, right? So you got to think. I mean, do you and Harold think that Mark Zuckerberg and the douchebag that owns Twitter, do you think that they're keyboard warriors?
That fucking ZZ Top here. These were the guys. I don't remember his name.
Neither do I.
These were the guys that were. These were the guys that were bullied, that had no nothing. Nobody listened to them. Nobody gave them time of day. Nothing. Probably didn't get laid till they were in their 30s, if they even did. And now they're the ones in the position of authority.
They are more powerful than the government.
I'm gonna fucking destroy every one of you. I'm gonna block the president of the United States on Twitter.
And you know what, Craig? You alluded to last week, possibly, that this is the reason why you kind of wanted to get involved in this show, right? Because the cancel culture and being censored. I mean, you can't get any more censored than being the president of the United States and being kicked off Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand how they get away with it. It's something. See, I gotta look more into it. It's something about them being private companies, so you can't use the whole freedom of speech thing because since it's a private company, they can do whatever they want.
They can, act like they could censor anybody because they're a private company. They can do what they want. There's no law in place that that prevents them from doing it. In fact, there is a law in place that protects them from lawsuits if they do something like that.
Yeah, that
Section 230.
231 or something. Yeah.
Yep.
What were you saying last week? You said something like Facebook started as like a thing to like rape women or something. I never saw that.
No. I mean, look, Mark
Did he say
Zuckerberg.
that?
No. What I said was Mark Zuckerberg was at Harvard University. He started Facebook as the Facebook, and it was a website that rated women at Harvard University. That's all it was. So
I never saw that movie, so I don't know.
yeah, no, and actually, no, it wasn't in the movie. It was kind of just like a something that I was looking up on, Mark Zuckerberg and stuff like that. Yeah,
He's a little fucking douchebag.
Yeah.
I hate him so much.
He's just a wise ass.
I love when he was at that Senate hearing and they were grilling him.
He was a wise ass.
Somebody took a shot from the back, and you see he's sitting on like a booster seat. I was like, oh,
I just cannot believe the amount of people who actually voted for Biden and did not know he was going to do what he's doing now.
well, it's because half of them were dead.
Did you see that meme that they have up on Twitter and all that stuff? They had to call the Ghostbusters into the Capitol in case all the dead people that voted for Biden actually showed and started rioting.
Right.
Man. Well, speaking about fighting, we all put our money on Conor McGregor last week, and what happened?
We all lost in the second round.
Yeah.
God, he got his fucking ass handed to him.
Yeah, he really did.
He was doing okay in the first round, and then something woke up inside that other dude, and he just started pounding on him.
Nah, you know what I think it is, and maybe you agree with me, maybe you won't. I think it's a case of Rocky 3. You have all that money, you have the millions. He doesn't need any more money, and it just goes to your head. He doesn't train as hard as he could possibly do. I just don't think so.
Rocky 3 is what happened to Ronda Rousey.
Yeah, agreed.
I love her. She's my favorite. I'll fucking
Love her to death.
She does. I think. I'm sorry, Ronda. I love you. I think the fame just got to her head because, like, after she'd win a fight, she'd be like, "I'm ready for the next one. Let's go for the next one. Let's go next month. Let's go for another one."
I think you're right too. The fame got to her, and she just didn't train as hard as
because it was just like in the movie. Remember in the movie when Rocky was training with all the people and
right,
and Mickey's like, "What are you doing? This circus?" Ronda was doing the same thing. She would have these little training sessions where the fans would come out and watch her.
Yeah,
we're never getting her on the show.
Ronda, if you're watching, come on our show. Okay, Craig wants to interview you.
Among other things.
I had a nice conversation with her. She gave me a big hug. It's my profile picture.
Should we show the audience a picture of you and Rhonda?
If you want. Sure.
No, yeah, because we both met her. I met Rhonda also.
My picture's better than yours, so shut up.
No, it ain't. No, it ain't.
It really is. I got a picture hugging her. You're just like, hey, I lean over the table because you don't want to smell me.
She hugged me too, but it's not in the picture though, sadly. But no, she's like really one of the sweetest people you could ever meet, and that's one of the things. Like, so a lot of the fans hated Rhonda. They said she's one of the biggest egomaniacs there is. Now, mind you, even Rhonda will say it. Her job was to sell tickets. Her job is to put on a show, and she did. Rhonda would put on that show. She would put on the ego. She would put on.
Dude, she was the best fucking trash talker in the UFC.
Yeah, yeah. But a lot of it was the persona. When you meet her in person, dude, she's one of the most genuine, loving people you could ever meet. She loves her fans.
Yeah, she does.
When she turned heel, there's a great video. I think she was in Canada, maybe, Harold, and she's driving in the car, and the fans are like, Rhonda, I love you. And she's like, I hate you. Get away from me.
Yeah.
And they're like, you take a picture? And she's like, no. And she said like something like, the Maple Leafs suck. And then like 2 seconds later, she's like, I'm sorry, I love you. I have to say this now.
Yeah, like Rhonda is not that bad guy. She doesn't do it. No, I meant like this story I'm telling is like especially when Rhonda was in the UFC. No, this is especially when in the UFC when she was trying to build up the women's division and all that. No, she cares about her fans. Like when I met her, and Craig can attest to it too. When you meet her, it's not just a hi, bye, autograph, and move along. She will take time to meet and talk with every fan.
When I met her at Axis, there was people who like just got the picture and walked away, didn't even say nothing to her. Just hey. So I went up and I wanted to talk to her. So I went on and I started talking with her, and she actually stepped away from the table, and her people stepped back, and me and her went off to the side, and we talked for like a good 5 minutes. And I showed you the picture. She gave me a big hug and everything.
It's got to be really hard to be a celebrity or a celebrity status and maintain some sort of like private life or for that matter, private thoughts. But you have to, if you want fans or if you want people that, follow you, or you have to have that demeanor where you know how to calm yourself down. I don't know if I could do it, to be honest with you. I don't know if I can, because like I'm that type of person who kind of needs my time. And if I got people trying to get my autograph in every second, or they got the paparazzi around the block taking pictures of me and my kids. You ever see that movie Paparazzi?
Yeah, with Cole Hauser.
Great fucking movie. But I don't know if I could do it.
I'm not a huge fan of Ben Affleck, but I've seen them go after him when he's holding his kids, putting them in the car, and dude, he freaks the fuck out. He's a big dude.
That's what I'm talking about. I mean, you picture it, your whole family is there, and you got a paparazzi of 10 guys.
Dude, you go back to the early days. Those guys like Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, these guys were the first big celebrities where people would run up to him on the street and everything. And like Mickey Mantle said, he never understood it. He's like, I just don't get it. He's like, why people fucking love me? He's like, I'm just the guy who plays baseball, And then eventually he pretty much started. People are going to trash me saying this is probably not accurate. He was like one of the guys who started like the autograph signings where you pay and stuff like that. And you come and have private signings and all that. And I saw this documentary where this one guy's like, he's like, hey, Mickey. He's like, my name's Mickey. I was named after you. And he said, Mantle turned to him. He's like, there's a lot of kids named after you. Here's your autograph.
Your whole life shattered. My name sucks.
Yeah, right.
No, and then it goes farther than that. It's like then you take the paparazzi out of the equation. Then you got the crazy fans. When you're a celebrity now, you got, of course, most fans are cool, but then you got the crazy fans who will invade your space. You got the one, there's always going to be that one fan that's going to ruin it for everyone else. There's a story, Craig, you remember the video with Chris Jericho where there's that.
Oh, yeah, we punched the bitch in the face.
Yeah. There's this crazy fucking bitch who's trying to get to Jericho. He's just trying to leave and get into his car.
The security wasn't doing anything.
The security's not doing their job. This fan is screaming at Jericho, cussing at him. Then she puts her hands on him. She's pushing him. She's shoving him. And then he cracks her right in the teeth.
Turns around and just popped her.
Is there a video that we can actually watch of that?
There's actually a video on YouTube.
Like Chris Jericho punches fans.
Should we take a look real quick?
Sure.
Oh my God! Can I get a picture with you?
Hey, come on, stand right here. Get him out of
here. What are you gonna do? You're an insult to Canadians, you motherfucker.
Can I still get a picture with you?
You make Canadians. Everybody, yeah. Monday Night Jericho!
Can I get a picture with you? Can I please get a picture with you? Can I just get a picture with you?
Fucking cops around here! Do your fucking job! Get out of here!
He punched the girl.
Now, fuck
Wow. Wow.
I mean, you can only be pushed so far, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that's what I'm talking about. It's just I don't know if I could do it, you know? It's just it's crazy. It's crazy to be a celebrity.
I always talk about I hate when the celebrities like treat the fans like shit or shit on them, but at the same time, some of the fans can be horrid fucking people.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some that will ruin it for everybody.
It's just like they think they're gonna get this moment with them where they're gonna be like, "Hey, you want to hang out?" Come on.
Kind of like I thought Sarah Michelle Gellar was going to show up at my doorstep that, one day back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that. Corey used to fall in love very hard with celebrities. I mean, because I remember Corey wasn't big into like movies
Why
or anything.
do we always refer back to me in my early life?
But this is good. What I'm about to talk about. Corey wasn't big into like movies or all this stuff. And I sat down and I told him the idea for a movie I had. We were in the bowling alley, and his fucking eyes just went wide. I was like, wow, he was really into it. He's like, tell me more. From that day on, Corey was like all about wanting to make movies and wanting to get into the business and everything. Then Corey saw Scream, and like that was it.
Oh my God! I think I went to the theaters and watched that. I think 7 or 8 times.
I think once because I had the bootleg before it came out. I watched it and I enjoyed it. I brought it over somebody's house, and we all watched it, and then everybody wanted to watch it again. Then more people want to watch it. We watch it again. And then at some point, you were like, yo, come on, man, come to the movies with me. So then I went and started the theater. I'm like, all right, I've had it with this fucking movie. Then I meet this fucking egghead, and it's his fucking favorite movie.
Really? It was my fucking favorite movie of all time.
Those are his favorite movies, dude. Nev Campbell's his favorite fucking actress.
I love
Harold,
Scream.
we have to talk, man. We got to talk.
Yeah, right. I have the biggest crush on Nev Campbell.
Really?
Yeah.
We both met Nev Campbell.
Yeah, she's like my dream. Like if we get her on the podcast, that's my dream guest.
You know what? My favorite. She was on. Yeah, we should totally reach out to Nev Campbell and see. She was one of her first roles was in Kung Fu: The Legend Continues with David Carradine. One of my all-time favorite shows.
Sean Kanan, who is coming up, was on an episode of Kung Fu.
Get the hell out of here!
Yeah,
I did not
totally
know that.
forgot.
Which episode?
I don't know. It's on his IMDb. I totally forgot.
Dude, that's like one of my favorite shows of all time.
No shit.
I'm serious. Totally
I
serious.
guess that I've known him for fucking over 2 decades.
Wow, Sean Kanan. All right, why don't we get to Sean? I think he's waiting in the waiting room right now. Okay. Greg, will you bring us home and bring Sean onto the show?
Yes. Welcome to Disgruntled. Our first guest is Sean Kanan, actor, best-selling author, and I just recently found out motivational speaker. How are you, brother?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
All right. You're here with me, Craig, Corey, Harold, and
the whole crew.
All right. So I got your book here, Success Factor X.
Yeah.
Ready here? Can you tell us a little about it?
Yeah, Success Factor X is my second book that I co-authored with another author, Jill Lieberman. And basically what we did was we went out to 50 really exceptional individuals and we said, what does success mean to you? And we got such an amazing response from such a wide and varied group of people. Everybody from sort of the usual suspects like Mark Cuban, Anthony Robbins, Coach K, people like that, to Daryl McDaniels, founding member of Run DMC. Martin Cove. Martin Cove is Sensei Kreese, one of our participants. Hall of Fame baseball players, football players. And what was interesting is, all of these people have the ostensible trappings of success, right? They're wealthy, they're successful, known individuals. But when you really start listening to what they say, most of them, almost to an individual, speaks about their success in terms of their ability to help other people achieve their success. Really, it is about paying it forward.
Pay it forward, okay, yeah.
It's funny. My acting teacher was a guy, the late Roy London, very well-known acting teacher. And he used to say, I have more in common with a successful plumber than I do with an unsuccessful acting coach.
Okay.
And by that means,
that's great.
it's like Anthony Robbins says, success leaves clues. They're common denominators. And some of the very same things that I imagine it takes for all you guys to be successful with what you do, even though what I do is very different, I bet we do a lot of the same things. And conversely, I mean, or actually, in the same vein as that, a lot of the things I do are the very same things that a guy like Daryl McDaniels does, who's, a famous rap artist. There are just certain things you got to do to be successful. One of the most basic is that, and I talk about this in my new book. Forgive me for segueing to my new book, which is Way of the Cobra.
Definitely. But
it's imperative that you've got to have a really strong why. What is that thing that gets your ass out of bed in the morning? What's that thing that when you've had your butt kicked is going to pick you up and get you to keep going? And if you have a strong why, that's the thing that's going to propel you to success. Another basic thing is just, treat people kindly. Be kind. Treat people with integrity and respect. I kind of am a big fan of what Patrick Swayze said in Roadhouse. And it's be nice until it's time not to be nice.
Of course.
Right?
Absolutely.
I think there's certain things that are universal truths.
Yeah.
And I think having a strong why is integral to achieving success. And, another thing I talk about in Way of the Cobra, and again, I'm not reinventing the wheel here. There's very little that I'm going to say in this book other than stuff that is sort of autobiographical and specific to me that is earth-shatteringly novel. And as a matter of fact, in the introduction of the book, I say I got good news and I got bad news. All right, first the bad news. The bad news is I don't have a magic bullet that is going to instantly propel you into being, that carnivorous beast chewing up success. But here's the good news. It's like the Zen riddle. How did the ship get in the bottle? It was always there. It was already there. Everything you need is already within you. I'm just going to help you kind of discover it. So when I talk about success, I talk a lot about determining your success. Okay. My success, my version of success, we probably have some similar things, guys, and we probably have some things that are very different. And I say, what success is not? It's not looking at some obnoxious celebrities' bloated Instagram feed and looking at all the toys and things they show off and say that's success. It's not looking at, the airbrushed cover of some guy on Men's Fitness or a woman on Cosmo and saying that's what success is. And it's not the commercials that Madison Avenue tells us success should be. We all have this internal barometer inside of ourselves. We know when we're behaving congruently with what we need to do to achieve our success.
Yeah, but
and I talk a lot about, you got to define what your success is because, that's like the destination. If you don't know where you're going, then you're just driving around. Your why is
what drives you.
Yeah, or trying to, right? It's your why is the vehicle that's going to get you there, and your actions that you take are the fuel that's going to propel you to get there. So a lot of what I talk about in the book is clarity.
A big problem today is, especially with the younger generation, they weren't like us where, we didn't have the cell phones. We had to go,
Right.
looking for the payphones from our pagers. I tell people this story one time. I said to my niece, I was like, you want to go to the movies? And she's like, Uncle Craig, can't we just download it? I was like, dude, going to the movies was such a treat when I was growing up.
Of course.
But these kids they don't know how to interact with people anymore. They don't know, they don't know about first impressions and shake the guy's hand firm. They don't know that because everything's online.
Absolutely. And now we're being told not to shake.
Oh yeah, well, okay.
Exactly. You guys know where shaking hands originated from.
They haven't made a law against it yet. So
you know what? And just to let you know, Sean, Craig and I grew up together, went to high school together, and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
For us to go to a movie, we actually crammed 10 of us into one car to head to the movie.
For a drive-in, you mean?
That was part of the fun.
Well, I was just going to say, shaking hands comes from when two knights would meet each other in the battlefield and they were going to talk. And it basically is, I have no weapon in my hand. I'm extending my empty hand. It's also what, karate is, way of the empty hand. I agree with you, but the funny thing, Craig, is every generation says that. You talk to, the Greatest Generation, for instance, and unfortunately, there's less and less of them every day. These are people that went and stormed the beaches at Normandy and would say things about their kids like, "You guys have no idea how good you have it."
True.
And I would hear it from my dad. So I think it's really a generational thing. So I think we're probably just a few seconds away from yelling, "Hey, you kids, get off my lawn!" But
well, with every decade, new things roll in, but you also have to lose things from the old. You look at the '60s. We the '60s going into the '70s. We lost Elvis. Groucho, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, I think every generation has its things. You know what I mean? It's like, we didn't have a war in my generation. Desert Storm was actually a generation after me. But what we had AIDS. Yeah. I mean, AIDS was a.
I remember that was the scariest thing. Yeah,
so scary, and I mean, it was such a huge sociological thing. So when you mention the '70s, the first thing I think of is free love. Everyone's banging everybody, right? And then as you're growing up in our generation,
and if something went wrong, you just a shot of penicillin. That's it. You're good to go.
Exactly.
That's it. All right. Now, you were into martial arts before you did Karate Kid, right? You taught under Fumio Demara, right?
Yeah. What happened was I was studying in Pennsylvania, and we had this little school. I studied with a guy named Sensei William Stoner for years, and then we joined. Our school became a school for Sensei Demara's school.
Okay.
And Master Demara he's iconic. I mean, there's a film about him that's out now, a documentary called The Real Miyagi.
The Real Miyagi, I saw it. Amazing.
Yeah, and he was also Pat Morita's stunt double, and just really, a man full of Miyagi-isms and wisdom and all the stuff that you would hope to have as a teacher. Yeah.
So did you find it difficult to go from the style of fighting that you were taught to the movie fighting where there's little to no contact?
Well, I mean, look, it is different. I mean, there's good things and bad things about movie fighting. For instance, if I'm punching you and you're here and the camera's over my shoulder, I can miss you by this much and it's going to look like a hit if you know how to sell it, right? But there's other times when you do actually need to make contact, which really have got to be, you got to be able to pull it so no one gets hurt.
Yeah. So
and I learned really quickly because it was like, you hurt Ralph, you're in big trouble. And
well,
so,
I think
really
William Zabka kicked him in the face in the first movie. During the scene where they were in the skeleton costumes, he actually gave him a front kick right to the face.
Yeah. Well, you know what I've heard. I've watched a lot of behind the scenes with all the Rocky movies, right? And Sylvester Stallone and especially Dolph Lundgren talked about how they really hit each other many, many times.
Well, more than that, Dolph Lundgren almost stopped his heart.
Yeah, he did, and they went to the hospital. He was having a heart attack. I think Sylvester Stallone was. And
they said what happened to you was tantamount to being hit by a car. Also, for Rocky III, Ernie Shavers, who was either the light heavyweight or heavyweight champion, I think he was out of Ohio, but I'm not sure. He was originally going to be Clubber Lang, Mr. T's character, and they put him in the ring with Stallone. And you got to realize, Stallone probably would have been a very good middleweight had he decided to really do that instead of acting. I mean, he's a tough guy.
Yeah.
Just look at him now in his 70s, and he looks like a beast. But I guess Ernie Shavers hit him too hard. He wasn't able to do exactly what we're talking about, which is, pull your punches, things like that. And so they weren't able to hire him.
So how many times did you and Ralph hit each other? What do you think?
I don't think I ever hit Ralph. Ralph hit me once, and it wouldn't have even mattered except
I'm sorry.
But it was after I had surgery, because I had surgery while I was on the film. And so my wound was just healing. I mean, I had come back, way sooner than I should have come back, because otherwise I was going to lose the movie. And Ralph kicked me there. And then after I did Karate Kid 3, I wound up doing a series for Francis Ford Coppola. I did the TV series The Outsiders, and I was working with David Arquette.
Yes, I remember that.
Came
David
up
Arquette
bear hugged me and just split it open.
So, what
yeah.
happened on the film of Karate Kid 3? You going to lose the part? Or?
Well, that was the scene when in the Cobra Kai dojo where Miyagi comes in and he throws you against the wall. Is that where you got hurt?
Yeah, it wasn't when he threw me against the wall. I was doing something that was part of that, where I had to stand stationary and jump on my side. And it was a bit of a freak accident, but we did it over and over again. And the cumulative effect of my jumping and landing on my side dozens of times was like somebody just, hooking me again and again. And it caused internal bleeding. And we broke for Christmas Day. And 1989, I was in the emergency room Christmas Day in Las Vegas fighting for my life. And, ultimately, I got a call from the studio and they said, look, you have about 10 days to get back or we have to rehire.
Of course.
And they had just filmed enough of me that they were able to wait a little while. And I was able to heal a little bit.
Yeah, it would have cost more if they replaced you, yeah.
Yeah, I wound up doing all my own stunts, all my own martial arts stunts in the film.
So were you really breaking those bricks in that montage towards the end of the film?
Of course it was.
Of course it was. Come on. Corey, who doesn't break bricks?
I broke a few before I got here.
That just crumble into dust. I mean,
dude. Okay, so the scene where at the dojo when Miyagi throws you through the door and that horrific scream, "Wah!" That was my ringtone for my text messages on my first smartphone. So I'd be standing there in like the supermarket, and all of a sudden my phone would just go. Now
I had read that you actually referred to Mike Barnes as Johnny to the 10th power. I was actually curious of what the story is behind that.
Who knows? Look, I do so.
Mike Barnes is a badass.
Yeah.
Johnny wouldn't have lasted a minute with him.
The shit that comes out of my mouth. I mean, look, Mike Barnes was just a psychopath.
Barnes is a badass.
Lawrence wasn't really a bad kid, look, if you look at how they structured Cobra Kai, that maybe it was Daniel that was the bully. There's even a better
I totally agree with that.
Daniel is the bully.
There's that little video, and it starts off, the Karate Kid is about a violent sociopath named Daniel LaRusso.
Yep.
And the demon wizard and child batterer, Mr. Miyagi.
Mr. Miyagi, yeah.
That's funny.
I was shocked to learn that you and Thomas Ian Griffin, this was like your first starring roles because both of you killed it. He was great. I can't believe nobody snatched him up before that movie.
Yeah, well, he was kind of a big soap star. He was was a pretty big actor on a soap for a while. Me, I had done a couple TV guest star roles, and that was it. But nothing, on the magnitude of the third installment of a international franchise feature film.
How was it to work with Thomas?
He's great. I mean, he's great.
So have you talked to him since Cobra Kai started?
I haven't, and it's really weird that I haven't. We have not kept in touch over the years. I tell this one story that my wife and I were getting married, and we were having an engagement party at this restaurant in Hollywood, and like in a banquet room there. And Martin Cove was one of the guests. And complete serendipity, Thomas was having dinner, I think, with his wife in the restaurant. And so he came into the party, and I've got this great photo of me, Marty, Thomas, and my wife.
That's great.
And I hadn't seen Thomas in a very, very long time. And Daryl Vidal from The Karate Kid just texted me.
Oh, that's cool. So let me ask you a question. Obviously, we know that the third season leads off. Supposedly that Kreese is calling Terry Silver, but Thomas made an announcement. He says, "I'm done with acting. I'm done.
Wow.
I'm not coming back." Like he didn't say he's not coming back to Cobra Kai. He's just said, "I'm done with acting." Yeah. So what do you have to say about that?
There may be a little negotiating there. He's like, "Oh, these guys set it up. They already kind of put it out there on the table."
He's just hanging back like, they'll call.
Yeah. I said, "I'm done with that."
They'll call. They'll call. I mean, okay, so what did you think of the third season? Because what blew me away is I think the writing is just amazing. They got a great writing staff on there.
No, they really are. And I say this whenever I do interviews. The thing I love about, John Hayden and Josh, they got incredible comedy sensibilities. These are the guys that did Harold and Kumar and Hot Tub Time Machine. So funny, I'll never forget. I was watching Hot Tub Time Machine, and there's this line, and if you kind of blink, you miss it, where this guy walks by another guy, and he goes, "It's like that douchebag from Karate Kid 3." It was like, all my friends who were in the movies with me just look at me like,
oh my god.
Yeah, but they're fun guys. I mean, I really love the sensibility with how they've reimagined the Karate Kid universe.
It seems like these guys know this story. They have a passion for it. They know these characters. And what I love, what I've noticed, I could be wrong, but it seems like they're listening to the fans and giving the fans what they want.
You really got to, and that's something that, on soap operas they do too, because,
you don't want all them angry housewives.
They're so fan driven that, the fans want to feel like they've got some reciprocity of ideas with the people making the show. And, they're like, oh my God, I wanted that to happen. And I wrote a bunch of letters and look, it's happening.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure when they're stuck writing, they don't look at, Terry Las Vegas 244 and they're like, what does he think? No,
but they see all this stuff on social. I mean, they're very aware of it. Sure. I mean, that's part and parcel of being a producer on a show is kind of having your, finger on the pulse of the fans.
The day after season 2 ended, I was reading stuff online and fans were just like, yeah, next season, Daniel's going back to Okinawa and he's going to fight Chosen again. I was like, how the fuck did they know this?
Crazy. So Sean, if Mike Barnes was to make, hypothetically, an appearance in season 4, what do you think they would, how do you think they would write that character?
I don't know. I always say that there's 2 ways Mike Barnes could have gone. I mean, he was only 17. So, with few exceptions, people are lost causes at 17. It happens. But so I think, it would have been very interesting to see if maybe this guy got himself straightened out. Maybe he went into the military and came out an officer.
They were always talking behind the scenes type stuff with Cobra Kai that they just flipped the characters inside out from their original character. Totally flip. So that's what it could be. But they're also saying online, the marks, they're saying that Mike Barnes is going to come back as Miguel's father.
Yeah, but there's a lot of fans. There's a lot of fans out there who are like, yeah, it won't go with the backstory of the mother. I mean, they don't.
Maybe.
That's the biggest rumor.
Wait and see. We have to wait and see.
Yeah.
I don't want Mike Barnes to have a redemption story. No. I want revenge. Yeah.
Well, it would have also been interesting if he wound up going to prison and just comes out like a tatted up maniac.
What if he goes to prison with Chad McQueen?
That's what I was
Him and
say.
Dutch come out together. Dutch was my favorite character.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that.
We just want
he was my favorite character from the first one. Mike Barnes was from the third one.
Nice recovery, pal.
What's that?
Nice recovery.
Yeah. No, definitely. Oh, come on, man. Definitely Mike Barnes from the third one.
I want Mike Barnes to kick everybody.
I want revenge. I want him to come and beat the shit out of everyone.
Everyone, even Kreese.
Somebody suggested something which I thought was really funny. They said, "What if Daniel and Johnny are court mandated to go to anger management and Mike is their counselor?"
There's one more theory that's out there, is that Mike Barnes is going to show up at the tournament with his own karate dojo and kick everybody's ass. Like his students are going to kick everybody's ass. So, and then it's going to end on a cliffhanger where, you won the tournament. Now, Kreese can't leave if, he didn't, I can't wait to see if Mike Barnes shows up.
Here's another thing too. You got to remember, Terry Silver promised Mike Barnes 50% of the Cobra Kai dojos.
Yeah,
that wasn't predicated on Mike winning,
and he got it in writing.
Mike has a very strong, he has a very strong argument to asserting his ownership of some of these dojos. So look, I can't say when Mike is going to pop back in. I wouldn't say if I knew, but I trust. I trust that if and when the guys do bring Mike Barnes back, it's not going to be a little cameo, that it's going to be something that is actually, compelling story. And, as a guy that's now, 30 plus years down the road as an actor from when I played Mike Barnes, I'd like to play the character with a lot more levels and depth and stuff like that, as opposed to kind of the pretty one-dimensional bad guy that he was at the time, which is what they wanted.
Yeah, but the writers now, they're not doing that. They're giving a lot of depth to all the characters. A huge arc in all the characters. So I'm confident they'll do that with Mike.
I mean, I was always curious to see to know what happened to Mike Barnes after the end of Karate Kid 3. Like, did Hollywood come a calling? Did he feel nostalgic about, being in the kitchen with his mom and grandma and make a cookbook?
Oh, shit.
The Modern Gentleman. Can you tell us about your cookbook, man?
Yeah, so I love cooking. As a matter of fact, as soon as I get off with you, I'm cooking for a couple of friends who are coming over. I think food is an amazing conduit to build relationships. There's a reason why people always say, hey, go break bread with so and so, and you have a meeting of the minds. I've loved cooking since I was probably in college. Didn't have money to take girls out to fancy dinners, and I figured, look, if I can cook them something good, like a home cooked meal, got a shot at them coming over.
McDonald's.
Maybe staying over. Maybe I cook them breakfast. I don't know. But it's just something I always love doing. People used to always say to me, hey, why don't you open up a restaurant? And that's pretty much the quickest way for an actor and his money to get separated. So this seemed like a really good intermediary step. And then, the book is very much a hybrid. It's not just a cookbook. Mm-hmm. There's all sorts of chapters in the book that help guys become better guys and help women understand how men think. In kind of the 50s, sort of the John Wayne, Ronald Reagan era, it seemed like men intuitively knew what was expected of them as men. And then, and it was very much being kind of the iconic alpha male. And then the women's movement came, and there was a lot of great stuff that happened with that, but there was also a lot of collateral damage. And so I think what happened is a lot of guys in my generation grew up saying, well, my mom taught me you stand when a woman comes in the room, you pull the chair out, you open the door, and then you go and you take a girl out for a date, you open the door, and sometimes they're offended. So I think it caused a little bit of a dissonance with guys going, wait a minute, the most important woman in my life taught me this is how I behave, and now I'm being taught that maybe that's not what I should be doing. So am I supposed to be the alpha male, or am I supposed to be, the really good listener, empathetic, emotionally based guy? And of course, the truth is that it's an amalgamation of the two. It's the best qualities of both. And so I have a lot of chapters in the book where I kind of share some stuff that I think helped me become who I am. One of them is the Modern Gentleman defends himself. And I talk about how martial arts was a really important part of my growing up and into adulthood. And then I give a recipe for mashed potatoes and say, if you ever have to punch a guy in the mouth, have him eat the mashed potatoes. They're easy to chew, so.
I read that you were a bouncer at one point, and I was wondering if
Yeah, but I wasn't a very good one.
No.
So I was a bouncer when I went to school in Boston. And so one time, the captain of the wrestling team came in the unlimited weight category. He must have weighed 270. And he starts pulling his pants down. And I go up to him and I said, listen, I get my beer here for free. If you promise to keep your pants on, I will buy you beer all night long. That was how I bounced. So I was more of a, these are not the droids you're looking for. I would kind of get in your head.
No, I mean, times were so different, especially in the 80s, where, there was no internet. So all you knew about these actors was what you saw in the movies. And if you went out and got the magazines and you read about them, and that stuff wasn't always true. So that's why, like William Zabka said, people would challenge him on the street all the time. There was a guy in the 50s named Clint Walker who was on like the biggest Western show called Cheyenne. And he was like the master of the quick draw. Said he would pull into his driveway and people would be waiting there with guns trying to like do the quick draw against him. And he's like, yo, man, I don't.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm an actor. I mean, I think I talk about it I either talk about it in Way of the Cobra or I talk about it in Success Factor X. And I talk about being trained. And I say the difference between being a professional fighter and a really tough barroom brawler is that about 99 out of 100 times, the professional is going to win.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's a whole different level of commitment, knowledge, athleticism, and everything else. So yeah, I mean, did you guys hear about LL Cool J, he boxes a lot, very good. And I guess some guy broke into his house and he picked the wrong house.
Yeah.
And then there's another story about some guy broke into an MMA fighter's house and his wife and daughter were there and the guy just crushed him. He's like, look, I'm not even one of the top ranked guys, but it's like, you come in my house with my wife and daughter, what am I going to do? And, you know, crush the guy from a dead sleep probably, right?
Ugh. Imagine breaking into a house and LL Cool J comes at you. You're like, oh shit, man, can I get a picture?
And you're a fan? Like you're a fan?
Yeah, you're a fan too.
I love Mama Said Knock You Out.
Right?
Okay, I listened to an interview once where you talked about you were at a school and you showed the clip of the final fight in Karate Kid 3, and you said to all the kids, I'm pretty sure it was the kids, you said, that bully up there used to get bullied.
Yeah.
Is that what drove you to do more of like the motivational speaking?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I was bullied pretty significantly when I was a young kid before I started training in martial arts and everything. And it was, you know, still a lot of scars from it. And I got involved with a charity called Buddha Bullying. And we go to schools and we facilitate a conversation with kids about bullying. Oh, wow. And I always precede my part of it showing that final scene with Mike Barnes just terrorizing Daniel. And I said, would you believe that scary guy up there used to get bullied? Right. And, you know, now especially with, you know, Karate Kid and Cobra Kai's, you know, the rediscovery of all of this, it really kind of melts the ice and creates a bridge for me to, you know, talk to the kids and kind of bear down on some real stuff. And I never knew when I did that film that one of the most amazing byproducts of being in that film was that it was going to give me a platform to talk to young kids about bullying.
Were there ever any times where kids came up to you after speaking like, yo, man, I've been so afraid to like speak out, but you know, what you said really spoke to me. Can you help me with something?
Yeah, you know, it's really pretty incredible because there's a triangle to bullying. I mean, there's the kids getting bullied, there's the kid doing the bullying, and then there's the kids that are affected because they're sort of the passive observers of it.
Right. Oh, wow.
And you know, the passive observers are either, you know, if they're cheering the bully on, you know, they're certainly culpable, and if they're
you don't think about those people.
Yeah, so we really talk to all three sides of the triangle with the kids. And it's amazing because we'll get kids to come up on stage sometimes who say, yeah, I've been bullying people. And you know, you break it down and you see that, you know, they're getting bullied at home or something terrible is happening. And, you know, by creating kind of this safe environment for them to talk, it's like kind of, you know, when you see Tony Robbins doing therapy where someone's afraid to hold a snake and in 45 minutes they're holding a snake. I mean, it's like, this is really in the trenches, sometimes rapid results. Yeah. And it's really rewarding.
I did that firewalking with the Tony Robbins.
Did you really?
Yeah, I loved it.
How was that?
It was amazing. If you ever have a chance to fucking firewalk, do it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's amazing.
I'm a huge proponent of Anthony Robbins. Yeah, I mean, you know, I talk a lot in my book about having mentors. Yeah. And, you know, I talk about how, you know, and Craig, you were talking about films. You know, when I was a kid, I would go to the movies because it would allow me to escape the small town I was in. Yeah. But what I didn't realize was that the outlaw Josie Wales and Obi-Wan Kenobi and Bruce Lee were my earliest mentors.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, and you know, I talk about the importance of finding a mentor and being a mentor. And yeah, Anthony Robbins has absolutely been a mentor to me.
Now, I've never seen any of his stuff. I've only seen him on like Shallow Hal was the only time I've seen him. Banana Effect. Yeah, I know who he is. I just never seen any of his stuff.
Being an entrepreneur like me, it's you look up to Anthony Robbins and you're like, wow, like he's amazing. Now let me ask you, the Way of the Cobra, your next book, is that a sequel to Success Factor X, or is it something new? Tell us just a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's a standalone book where it's a book where I'm your sensei and I say, welcome to the dojo of life, Cobra life. And being a Cobra is somebody that lives their absolute best life, their most authentic self. That's a Cobra, okay? And Cobra is an acronym formed from character optimization, balance, respect, and abundance. And I talk about the strategies that I've used in my life that allowed me to, write an Amazon new release bestseller, Success Factor X, to create an Emmy award-winning show on Amazon Prime, and to lose 35 pounds all in 1 year. And I say that not to impress you, but to impress upon you what's possible. And these are, a lot of the kind of the battle-tested strategies that I've used, and this is my way of paying it forward. And the book is, funny. I mean, it's there's times when it's really serious, and there's times when it's kind of cheeky and funny. And it's like I said, there's not a whole lot of material anymore that's new material. But what it is the delivery mechanism giving the material going to be the one that finally resonates with you. And now with the success of Karate Kid and Way of the Cobra, I feel like that message may be what's able to get through to some people because they have an interest in it, where maybe they've heard the same stuff before and it's just kind of ricocheting off them.
Awesome. So why don't we tell everybody where you can get your book?
Yeah, the book is available for pre-order right now at wayofthecobra.com. You can check out the introduction to the book. You can get a nice flavor for what it's about. If you'd like to order it, I would love it. And I got to tell you, I honestly, in my heart, know this book has the ability to help anybody achieve the goals they want to and to make 2021 their best year yet.
Let's hope so, because 2020 really kind of sucked.
That was a freaking dumpster fire, man.
No doubt. Sean, I wanted to ask you something that I did find interesting. I read that you do speak multiple foreign languages. I was wondering, is that something that started out, did you start studying that for particular movie roles, or is that something that's just always been like a personal passion of yours? I was just curious of how that started.
It's always been something that's interested me. Like even going back when I was in elementary school, I would try and learn little bits and pieces. But when I found out how popular Bold and the Beautiful is in Italy, I thought if I could learn to speak Italian, I might be able to open up this whole other market. And so I just diligently studied and still study Italian. I mean, private lessons, classes, blah, 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 blah. And ultimately, I went over and did a film in Italy. I did Dancing with the Stars in Italy. And, whenever I go to Italy, I do talk shows in Italian. From there, I began studying Russian, and I like it. But I decided that I wanted to concentrate on Mandarin. And so I take private Mandarin lessons twice a week. I've been doing it for over a year. And, it's one of those things, I guess it's almost a little like working out. It's like, it's so hard that I can block everything else out because it requires so much concentration. And then when you actually start listening to it and it no longer sounds like ping pong, bang. And suddenly you're like, I know what that means. I can say that. It's really, it's an amazing feeling. So yeah, I just love doing it. And I even talk about that in The Modern Gentleman. I talk about the modern gentleman learns a language and how it just completely opens you up to people you would otherwise never meet on that level. And when you travel to a certain country and can speak even rudimentary parts of the language, it just makes your experience so much more valuable valued by the people that you meet and layered. And so I think it's something I'll continue doing. I love it.
Oh, absolutely. Even if you're just in like a foreign country or something like that, even if it's just something as small as being able to go into like a restaurant and be able to order food off the menu where before you wouldn't be able to do something like that. It's just little things like that can be just a big help where someone wouldn't think that, something just that small can be a very big thing. I found that interesting when I read that. I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I recommend it to everybody. I really do. Mandarin is the most spoken language in the world.
I didn't know that. I wouldn't have thought that.
There's 4 billion Chinese who speak it. So I just thought, it's so hard. It's so foreign. It's not like a romance language where if you can speak Spanish, you can pick up French and Italian somewhat more easily. This is like, there's nothing to root these words in. You know what I mean? They don't remotely sound like anything we know.
Yeah, I got to read your cookbook, man, because I don't know nothing about being a modern gentleman.
Please do. I think you'd like it. But read Way of the Cobra, man. I'm telling you.
I don't always dress spiffy like this. One question I had, what is your opinion on these documentaries that they do, the bullying documentaries. I have to look into it. I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not sure about it yet, but I leaning more towards it like exploits the kids, especially like the marketing campaigns with the posts.
Which ones are you talking
And I
about?
don't know if I dig it, especially since they're not putting the stuff out for free. They're selling them. What is your opinion on
Which ones are you talking about?
that? There was one. I think it was called Bully. It was a bully with the circle with the slash.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of them, and I'd like to think everyone's heart's in the right place. Look, I mean, we really need to get over this idea that bullying is just how kids relate to each other, and boys will be boys. And I got to tell you something. The girls, let me tell you, girls are
they're worse.
Every bit as guilty of this, and in some respects, it's even worse. The big thing that's so dangerous right now is cyberbullying, because when I was a kid, you get bullied, you going to school, in school, coming back from school. Okay. Now, with one stroke of a keyboard, it's the ability to embarrass and humiliate somebody to everybody in their school. And, suicide is the 4th leading cause of death in
There was
adolescents.
a wrestler that killed herself after being bullied. Harold, you remember?
I can't remember her name, but yeah, that was a Japanese wrestler. She was only about 21 years old. She was cyberbullied, and she committed suicide. She was so young being cyberbullied. And you hear about it all the time.
I have a 12-year-old at home, and I gotta do my best to keep tabs on him. And he wants to be a Twitch influencer. That's what he wants to be, right? And I found out the other day that he has like fucking 20,000 followers. Like, dude, what's going on? He's 12. So now I can
monetize that stuff,
and I'm proud of him because he's achieving his goals. But also, for a 12-year-old to have 20,000 followers, I gotta vet that a little bit.
Absolutely,
So.
And listen, I don't think there's anything wrong with invading your kid's personal space.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's. I would do that all the time with my daughter. I was like, "Look, I love you, and it's just I'm doing this for your benefit, protect you, not because I'm trying to be a dick."
Yeah.
But you got to be involved with what they're doing, because there's just a lot of crap out there, man.
Yeah, it's really bad. Really is.
That's the problem, though. A lot of the parents nowadays, they just kind of hang back and deal with it, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Oh, it's something they got to go through, something they got to learn.
Well, it's a distraction.
When the kids are sitting in their room at night, freaking cutting themselves and shit,
Because a lot of the times these video games and this online type stuff, it's a babysitter, and that's why a lot of parents they just don't give a crap, So anyway, so Sean, are there any closing comments that you want to maybe give us a little bit of a cliffhanger to end off on?
Man, I really enjoyed talking to you guys. It was like hanging out with a bunch of buddies just shooting the shit.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. So I guess the one thing is I'll just plug my show that's on Amazon Prime, because we didn't talk about it. But,
go for it.
I have a show called Studio City on Amazon Prime. We were nominated for 8 Emmys last year. We won 1. It's a terrific and fun and funny show, and I would encourage everybody to please check it out.
No doubt.
And I always say this, but I'm very humbled that after 30 years, and after having done dozens and dozens and dozens of other projects, that this one project is something that still resonates with people, and that they've been such wonderful, loyal fans. And I'm just sincerely grateful and appreciative that I'm able to have this kind of connection with people who saw me in something that I did decades ago.